A day in the life of a BHC director. So, 7:28 in the morning, and I've already been up and getting a few things done. But I wanted to kind of walk you guys through my process. Many folks, when they move more into administration and have more of this ambiguous time, in some ways it's good because you have more time to do things. In other ways, it requires a whole other skill set of time management skills that you didn't necessarily need to worry about as a clinician. Clinicians, we have, in that role, have our own set of unique difficulties with regards to the schedule. So one thing that's very important to me is doing time blocking. So I'm going to switch the camera here. And every single morning, I am making sure that my sticky that has everything time blocked for where I'm supposed to be matches Outlook calendar. That's something that I'll do on Sunday nights to set up for the whole week so I can kind of see the week in advance. Most of the time I'm doing 2, possibly even 3 weeks into the future, but definitely 1 week into the future. And just kind of going through and looking at the highest priority items, things that I need to get done, and mandatory meetings that maybe I don't need to go to and I can better follow up with an email. But basically, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure when it comes to managing your schedule and your time and where you're supposed to be to get the biggest return on investment. So right now, what I have time blocked is doing some charts. I was in clinic all day yesterday, or actually that was Monday. And I still have a few charts I had seen 10 patients, so I have to finish those charts. And I have that on the agenda until 8:15. And then at 8:15, we have an all provider meeting, which actually we have, it's been turned into kind of a wellness event where we're going to be doing some crafting, which will be super fun. And then the actual meeting with real business will start at 9:30, and that will go till 10, I think about 10:15. And then 10:25, which is probably where I'll pick up with you guys, I will be getting prepped for resident interviews. Medical residents are going through their process of interviews right now, and I'm one of the faculty interviewers, and so I'll pick up with you guys at 10:25. Okay, so it is 10:25, and I'm back with you all. One of the things that I actually want to correct myself on is I said that we are going to do the employee wellness event from 8:15, and then we get to the real business. And I just want to address that real quick, that oftentimes doing wellness events or crafting or using some other creative part of us might feel like that's not the real business, but it is actually very important. So being able to be with your colleagues and have some creative time and participate as much as possible in these events is actually a really important part of longevity in the field. So I'm going to take that back, what I said about the real work or the real business. And then it is now, like I said, 10:26, and I'm getting started to do, getting ready to get started to do the resident interviews. So I'll be paired with another medical resident, and we'll be interviewing prospective candidates with regards to seeing if they're a good fit for family medicine. And oftentimes they'll have the BHC faculty do this section to see if folks are kind of here for the right mission, and also kind of assess how much they're aware of the importance of the whole body, whole mind and body approach, the holistic approach. So you might be, as a director, wearing lots of different hats, and switching from one task to another is a big area where there could be time wasted, and I, of course, am guilty of that as well, those transition periods. But with practice and planning, you at least will be able to mitigate that over time. So I'm going to jump on these interviews, and that should take us to about 12:45, which is when I will be getting ready for clinic that starts at about 1 o'clock. Okay, talk to you guys soon. All right, so it is a little bit before 1 o'clock, and I've finished the resident interviews and took a moment to grab a sandwich so I can eat something for a few minutes and take a few minutes to breathe. And then the next thing that I was able to do was I have clinic this afternoon, so it starts at 1 and goes until 5. I have 6 patients scheduled, 122, 240, 320, 4, and 440. So I went through each of those chart notes and did some chart prepping so that I'm able to get ready, that I can document right away when the patient comes in, and also to make sure that I'm up to date on what our plan is and what we had talked about. Right now, everybody on my schedule are folks that I've worked with at least one time before, so there's no brand new patients. However, as we know in PCBH, we might get handoffs, we can have some cancellations. So what I'm going to do now is take a few minutes to get a breather, probably check my email, and then I'm going to make my way back up to clinic. You may actually have also noticed that I'm in a different office. So this morning I was from my home office, and now I'm at my work office. One of the good things about work from home options is that if you need to get deep work or you want to get started on something at your house, then you can get started on it before going into the actual office. A lot of times I'll opt to work from home when I have administrative tasks, when I'm really trying to be distraction free. I'm about 10 to 12 minutes from the office, so that might make a difference whether or not you'd want to go back and forth in between offices. So I will check back in with you all, hopefully if I remember, in the middle of clinic, depending on how busy we are, to see how we're doing. All right, so checking back in. It is 2:41. I've seen a couple of patients, and right now I'm about to call a couple of patients because their visits are virtual visits. But I kind of treat it very similar to if it was a scheduled visit, where I go into the exam room that I actually would go into ordinarily if I was directly with a patient. But instead, I'm just going to call them. And then, yeah, it's 2:42 actually now. So we'll see how the rest of the afternoon shakes out and how many patients we can see. Oh, and real quick, I wanted to share that as much as is humanly possible, I try to limit how much I'm checking my email and other administrative duties. I tend to have a rule that when I'm in clinic, and that's all I'm doing. Again, no one is perfect at anything, and I'd say I'm able to do that about 90% of the time, and I almost always regret it. I almost always regret working on admin stuff when I should be all in on clinic. I do understand and give grace for myself that sometimes something is very timely, but other times I just kind of think things are maybe a little bit more urgent than what they really are, or it's my impatience that makes me start working on something instead of just trusting the process and using time outside of clinic. So again, gonna be nice to myself and also continue to practice that when I'm in clinic, I'm doing all things clinical and not doing administrative duties. All right, doing another little check-in. It is 4:01, and I've done a really good job of not overly checking email. I think I glanced once, but didn't really get into anything, thank goodness. And I was able to take a handoff. So that visit went super good, and my 4 o'clock just checked in. So shockingly, I'm not too late. 2 minutes for me, that's really good, especially at the end of the day like this. So we're gonna go ahead and finish off clinic, and what we have on the docket for tonight is a dinner with one of our pre-doctoral interns who will be staying on as postdoc, and so that will be at 6 o'clock. So I'll probably sign on one more time before I go and do that, and we'll leave you guys with the last check-in. All right, so it's 5:25, and I finished clinic. Ended up having 6 visits, so that went super good. And I'm getting ready to go to the dinner for signing our postdoctoral fellow. So currently she's a pre-doc, but signing on as a postdoc. So we're able to have a nice dinner. So that should be fun. I'm not going to do any more work for tonight. I tend to be a get things done early type person. And at this point, I don't really have any brain cells working to be able to do any type of deep work or even more tedious work. So tomorrow will probably be a nice 6 a.m. start time so that I can go through and get with the most high priority items that's going to give me the biggest return on investment. Then once I get some of that outlined, I'll probably move into some of the more tedious tasks like documentation and finishing that up, signing off on my supervisees charts. And then my day will start officially with things that I have scheduled at 8 a.m. I'll be shadowing one of our postdocs. So each day in the world of a director can be very different and can look very different. The day that I shared with you all is a very typical one, especially when I'm working about 30 to 40% in clinic. So many of the days I'll have clinical work. So I wanted to share a day that had both administrative, faculty, as well as clinical work. So thanks for going on this journey with me, and appreciate any comments or any thoughts. All right, signing off.